So my name is Simon Weedle, and I have had the fortune, I've been fortunate enough to be able to student teach at Malcolm, Nebraska, and Westfall Elementary. I'm in the fifth grade, and I feel like I've had a very unique experience, mostly because you get placed with one teacher to kind of guide you along the way. But fortunately enough, with the team that I've been a part of, it's fun with our classroom. It opens up, the middle wall opens up. And it's really, we work so well as a team. We have Mr. Amen, Mrs. Densberger, and they've really just allowed me to just be another member of that team. And from the very beginning, day one, they kind of threw me to the wolves, right? And well, first it was scary, but looking back on it, right, I've been able to learn so much. And that's really reflective of my time over the course of the 4 years being here at the university. Because it's hard to. We're asked to make just one competency or just say one thing that we learn, but because of the professors and everything else, there's so much to choose from. But with that being said, I did choose one, and that competency statement is: I am competent at making a safe and learning environment in order to help students engage in both the world within and around themselves. And so there's a couple things here. The first one is the students. So safe, but then the students, right? For me, the students are most important, and they're our main focus as educators, is the students. But allowing them to engage in both the world within, so the first is the world within. So students bring lots with them into the classroom, whether that's from home, from outside the classroom. They bring those things in with them, but they also deal with those things throughout the day. That's always on their mind, and it impacts how they engage in the world around them as well. So that world around them is me as a teacher, their students, the staff around the school, the other students in the school, the administration. And so really taking the time to allow them to engage within and seeing how that affects and allow them opportunities to engage with others as well is super important. And so that's why I chose it as a competency of mine, and to say that, I've grown in this area so much. And hopefully with that, it kind of ties to be the change, and that kind of matches my theme of agents of change and reform. And so in order, for me, being the change is you look at education, and some would see it as, hey, okay, student comes into my classroom, they're just another number or just another body. We need to move them from point A to point B. So for me this semester, let's just get them from 5th grade to 6th grade. That's my only job. But changing the mindset of, hey, that student is important, and that's a person, and we need to make sure they feel safe, and allowing them to, because if they don't feel safe, right, it's going to change everything about how they interact with others, how they engage in the material that's being taught. And so really taking the time to change that mindset, to make sure that you're providing the environment where they can become their best selves. And so to show my competence and to show the growth that I've made, I'll be sharing 3 artifacts here. One is a letter from a student in one of my first practicums. Another one is another recent practicum. It's an assignment that I did with the students. And then it's something now that I'm using with my 5th graders at Malcolm in Westfall. And so next to them is a caricature that kind of represents each of the students. And then I'll share just kind of a quote at the end to show kind of reflection, just to show the future of what I hope to be as a teacher. And so we'll start here with this first one. I'll go ahead and read it. It's: Dear Mr. Weedle, after you leave human, I hope you will remember me forever. You are really good at knockouts. When you play knockout, I call being behind you. And so that's not, that was important to me, because it showed that those moments of playing knockout were important. But the last line was the most important part to me. He said, and you make me feel safe. Right? And so as educators, it's our job to, naturally we're called to just make kids feel safe. We're drawn to the students and helping them grow and building those relationships. But you think that just comes naturally. You think that students feeling safe is something that they just always are. They always feel that way. And so when he said that, I knew at the beginning that might have been a space where he wasn't feeling safe. And so it's like, wow, that's something that moving forward in my practicums ahead, and then in my student teaching, and then moving forward, it's like I need to make sure that every student feels safe, because with him not feeling safe, if he didn't feel safe with me, then that changes the way he responds to questions, how he discusses with me. He won't feel safe asking when he doesn't feel comfortable or doesn't know the information being taught. If he doesn't feel safe with his students or his classmates, then he won't. And if we do a think, pair, share, saying, hey, think within, think what you're wanting to say, think your answer. If he doesn't feel safe in that pairing up and sharing, then hey, he won't be able to show who he truly is and what he truly understands and everything else. So we can't help him, or I would not be able to help him grow into, like I said, the best version. And so that's kind of saying, hey, I need to focus on that within. And then that within is affecting then how he's engaging with his classmates and with me as a teacher. And so then going from there, I say, okay, I need to find ways to better understand the students, to build that relationship and get to know them, what's going on within. And one of our social studies classes is we had an assignment that was the most important thing poem. And I thought this would be great. National Poetry Month, it was in April, I believe. And I said, okay, this would be a great poem to do with the students, just an assignment, a writing prompt. And the directions say, think about yourself, who you are, and your life experiences thus far, and write a sentence telling the most important thing about you and your life. List 3 interesting life events and then end with the exact phrase you used at the beginning of the poem. And so I gave them an example of me because I feel like in order for them, if I expect them to be vulnerable with me, I should be the same with them. And so I gave him a poem saying, hey, the most important thing about Mr. Weedle is that he is a practicum teacher for the 5th grade at Elliott Elementary. He is a student athlete for the Huskers, grew up in Hebron, and is going to become a teacher. But again, the most important part is that I'm a teacher here, a practicum student, with you guys here in the 5th grade. And so I gave him another example, but the students had a chance then to tell me, hey, what's the most important thing about who you are? And so we had a moment. This was a class before I tell you about our sharing experience. This was a class that had a lot of diverse needs, whether it was with behaviors, anything else, right? They needed someone in their life, right, to really just like attach onto and really care about them and push them forward. And so it was her turn to come up and share, and we were all huddled around in a circle, and she comes up and shares, the most important thing about me is that I am going to finish school, get a good job, make a lot of money, and make my parents proud, make my family proud. And it's like, whoa, as a 5th grader, if I was a 5th grader, I would have probably said, hey, the most important thing about me is my favorite food is pizza, or my favorite color is blue. But this girl, you can tell that was on her mind, right? She didn't just come up with that all of a sudden. That's something that she thinks about each and every day. And then thinking back after she shared that, it's like, oh my goodness, that makes sense why she takes initiative in the classroom. That's why she holds herself to such a high standard. And so it was like, wow, okay, I can build in these ways, these academic ways for them to grow in their writing, but also I can learn so much about the students. So maybe if I would have done this then at the beginning of the semester, that would have helped me out so much more and help make sense of everything that was going on. But it was just another way that I was able to kind of engage myself in what they had going on within, and that it showed how it impacted how they were going and interacting with the world around them. But then finally, I moved forward then into to my last example here is my wish my teacher knew, and it's from a book. It's from an idea from a teacher who said I need to find a way to see what the kids are going on. And there's stuff that they wish that I knew about them. And I want them to share that with me. And so right from the beginning, this semester in 5th grade at Westfall, I gave the students just an opportunity to share. I put this out there to them saying, hey, I want you to tell me what's going on, right? Are you excited about a game that you have happening? Are you sad because, I had students who had lost a family member, and they would share, hey, I wish my teacher knew that this is around the time that I lost that member of my family. And so when they shared that with me, I was able to say, okay, hey, they might be struggling, so that's going to impact how they might act in math class, or that's how they might change their persona when they walk into the room if they're looking upset. So I need to make sure I go and have an extra take time to say, hey, how's it going? Are you good? Make sure that they know that I'm here for them. And so it was fun to be able just to say, hey, I not only went from, okay, I need to make kids feel safe, but you're also able to find ways just in reflecting about what went on, saying, okay, I can build in assignments that can both fit academically, help them grow academically, but also help me as a teacher to say, okay, it'll help me say, well, what do they have going on? What do they have going on within? But then also right from the get-go, not waiting until April, but saying right from the beginning, saying, hey, I care about you and I want to know what's going on. So building this in month by month, saying, I want to know, we can use it so many different ways. But also just other points of reflection saying, or just thinking of building relationships with students and creating a safe environment for them is vital to their overall learning, right? As I said before, if they're not willing to bring their true selves, I can't help them reach and become the best version of who they are. And so it's important to engage with what they have coming with them, because if they don't, then it's going to impact the entire semester. But also, just like I said, providing those opportunities. And there's so many different ways to do that, and making sure that I build those in as I move forward. And so in the future, just refer you to this last quote saying, it's from my favorite student, a kid president, saying, be somebody who makes everybody feel like a somebody. So again, making sure that, hey, that's not just another number, another body coming in, making sure that they are valued and that I care about them and I care about helping them reach their maximum potential, right? Making them feel like that's somebody. And so with that being said, just moving towards back to the be the change. It's a change in mindset, with educators, not just getting them to the test or making them improve test scores, getting them the next grade, but saying, hey, I want to be the change and change myself as I teach, change who I work with, saying, hey, we need to make sure we focus on these kids, but just making sure, most importantly, making sure that I am making a change in the life of that student. And not only just one student, but every student that comes in my classroom 1 year and every year moving forward. And so, again, it's just been such a great experience, and just building those relationships has been so rewarding to me.